What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be going over all the brand new decks that you're expecting BT-12. Without further ado, let's dive in this video and talk about it, shall we? So first off, let's get into it. Black WarGreymon. Oh yes, the Greymon tribal decks have fully realized. With the hit to Greymon X antibody to hopefully slow these decks down, it'll definitely see what's going to be hit or miss. In this situation with the new Tai Kamiya, similar to its counterpart that will be none other than WarGreymon, we're both looking at a very similar stock list, and that's one of the big reasons why they hit the deck, was to try to slow down the progression of a style of play that made basically you played the same, 46 card list and only your top end really changed in any capacity is not a good game design and creativity with all the cards you have. But with Black WarGreymon, especially if you think Xros Heart's going to be quite dominant, it might be a good investment to play this deck instead. The reason because you can play Tai, that'll give you blocker so you don't have to play the clunky Black Greymon anymore. Now you have access to this Greymon who will play you a Tai, but also gets really nasty if you combo in EX1. You could do this in either or deck version, and then you can just spit out a Tai pretty quickly, because then starting your main phase play or on play, one of your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon thing gets plus 1000 DP and blocker until the end of opponent's turn, and then one of your Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon name by suspending his tamer, gain 1 memory. Tai is just a really powerful card. You still play a little bit of Cool Boy. It's just there for, the X antibody searching, but nothing too crazy out of the ordinary there. So, deck's going to still do what the deck wants to do. You're going to kill off any tamers with Black WarGreymon and still just have a field day with Hades Force. And then you can have a small protection with Yuya. So, that's one way of going about it. And then in the WarGreymon version, you kind of focus more on the security punch style with your piercing effects with, the new Metal Greymon, especially since it has raid, but being able to Digivolve for 3 cost on top of your stack is really decently good, and especially if you can get some ties out. But if you get this one underneath at least once, this becomes a 1 cost evolve, and we kind of just expect this from there on out. The deck's going to play similarly. They're going to do a little bit differences here and there, especially with WarGreymon. It has raid, so being able to swing into your opponent's unsuspended Digimon really is helpful. But when Digivolving, this Digimon gets plus 3000 DP and reboot until the end of opponent's turn. And all turns once per turn when a Digimon attacks, target switch, unsuspend this Digimon. So if it blocks, it gets a free restand. If it switches by raid, it gets a second attack in. Stuff like that does add up pretty quickly, especially since it can give just a secondary OTK strat in itself. So that's what we're looking at. Then we have Emperor Greymon. Taking advantage of Atomic Inferno, especially if you hit multiple of these in security, your opponent hits them in security, your field gets really nasty pretty quickly, because with the Takuya, what you're going to do is Digivolve, into this Burning Greymon. You'll instantly get into that 10k range with an Atomic Inferno on that your opponent hit in. That's 2 security checks, and the more of these you have, the more comboing you can do. You could play Chimeramon in these lists just to try to make it something more different, but the fact of the matter is, as long as you check 1 security, when this Digimon checks an opponent's security, gain 2 memory for once per turn, so that can just extend your plays, especially the more you have of this. But all in all, the deck is really quite powerful. They used to use Flame Fire Drake Sword, or that attack option. That was just for Greymon, because they would use the X antibody, give you 2 protections. You would use Emperor Greymon to pop the first stack, try to pop it, they'll remove the X antibody, use the option to kill it. So stuff like that does add up. But you use like Nemon and Bokomon just to really just hammer it home. And the new Yokomon is just so powerful, especially because you are a tamer-centric deck, and you just have so many options now. The deck is a very grindy deck. Well, fast-paced, and it can get to games where it wants to be. It'll always apply pressure for your opponent. Not really grindy, but pretty decently powerful. Then you have Gallantmon itself. Bringing in the big boy himself, got some decent new support, especially if you guys are playing the Ulti Cups. You get some of his nice, cool new cards. I mean, that's not terrible, right? Beelzemon, Greymon, stuff like that is really nice to get your hands on. And the deck is playing something very uniquely different this time around because you focus on, you don't, beforehand you had to wait for your opponent and then you were kind of banking on that you could remove it afterwards. Their opponent promotes up. Now you can promote early and get your stack going with this staccato here because by placing a Greymon and WarGreymon in your trash and this tamer at the bottom of one of your Digimons, the Digivolution cards in any order, Digivolve that Digimon into Greymon in your hand, ignoring level requirements and paying its Digievolution cost. That Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. Because the staccato basically biomerges with, into Gallantmon, you can do some crazy powerful plays because now you can apply that early pressure that you don't mind your Gallantmon kind of just dying. Because, let's be honest, especially with the raid effect, it's not bad. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's 6000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Free security trash, never bad. Stuff does add up pretty quickly. And just being able to cycle in the staccato, especially after the first stack probably dies, or this is your first stack and you promote it, you play the staccato, and then boom, you're now set up so that when the stack dies, it really does some crazy powerful plays. Red really definitely got some decent crazy support with the fact of being able to, when having champions that play their tamers, make it really more vital and very scary to play around. I mean, all in all, the deck got some great synergy and great power, and it's really going to be interesting to see where it goes from there. And then let's get into who didn't want to see a fishy deck today. Well, Low Tide is in, and we have Digimon. Digimon really was interesting. You may play one level 3 Digimon or one Digimon with Seadramon in its name, or Aqua or Sea Animal in one of its traits from one of your blue Digievolutions without paying its memory cost. And then when your opponent plays a Digimon, you may activate this Digimon's when Digivolving effect. So it's on your opponent's turn, not a bad free body, get a Metal Seadramon. But with the new set of support, really came in with a new blue hybrid kind of esque thing going on. You have Renamon, that by placing one level 3 Digimon card from your hand at the bottom of one of your blue Digievolution cards, this Digimon gains jamming for the turn. Free value there, not bad. And then you have Calamaramon, so you may Digivolve this card from on top of your tamers as a level 3 Digimon. When attacking, you may play one blue level 3 Digimon from one of your blue Digievolution cards without paying its memory cost, being able to set you back up, get your Crabmon going, maybe Dracomon, Gabumon for a draw, or Gomamon for when played from Digievolution draw too. And then you get like Bokumon, who's going to be able to, when you play a Digievolution from one of your Digievolution cards, gain 1 memory, extending your plays. All that does really well. And then you have like Mermaidmon, who's by on play or when Digivolving, place one of your blue Digievolution under this Digimon as a bottom Digievolution card, gain 2 memory. She extends your plays, especially if you get her for free, or when you Digivolve, it becomes a 1-cost evolve. Then you have War Seadramon on play. When Digivolving, you may play one purple or blue level 3 Digimon card from one of your purple or blue Digievolution cards without paying its cost. And then it has the all turns effect. You may play a Digimon with an effect, gain 1 memory. All stuff really does add up pretty quickly. And then Ancient Mermaidmon. So when Digivolving, you may play one blue Digimon card with hybrid Aqua Sea Animal in one of its traits from one of your blue Digievolution cards without paying its memory cost. On deletion, you may play one hybrid. So Ancient Mermaidmon actually really rounded out the deck in a way. It gave you a easier turn with Digimon and stuff like that. Now you didn't have to rely on Digimon to do the spitting out stuff, so it really does set you up. And then you have like cards like Maelstrom, so you may play one blue Digimon card from under your blue Digivolution without paying its cost. Then if you have a Digimon with Seadramon in its name in play, return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to the bottom of their deck. Great Maelstrom, being able to bottom deck one of your opponent's Digimon makes it really hard for them to get back at it. You have like Matt Ishida, when you play a blue Digimon, suspend this tamer, trash the bottom of Digievolution on one of your opponent's Digimon. Not a bad trade-off there. You have like Davis as well. All in all, the deck got some decent support. Is it going to make a tier 1? Sadly not, but it's a pretty decently roguey funny deck. Then we have Imperial Dramon. Imperial Dramon definitely got some tender love and care in this set. And what do I mean by this? Is that it got a lot of new support, but it just doesn't know what to do with it. I'm even with Dan Vang, I don't know how he's gonna make or break this deck, and I'm waiting to see how he does that. But for now, you kind of get a gist of what it can do with the new Dramon, being able to trash the top 3 Digievolution of all your opponent's Digimon. Then when DNA Digivolving to your opponent's Digimon with no Digievolution cannot attack until the opponent's next turn. Really decent to be able to trash stuff, but an attack if this Digimon is Imperial Dramon in its name or free, and it trades game 1 memory. It's a Jogras deck. It's going to Jogras things. Dino Beemon being able to, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. This Digimon gets 3,000 DP for the turn, and then this Digimon can attack an opponent's Digimon. I mean, being an 11k swing into something can be decent sometimes. And then your turn when in this Digimon Imperial Dramon is name or free in its traits, deletes one of your opponent's Digimon, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Free trashing, especially because, SetCon does exist as a deck. What's nice is that they're making more and more ways for you to combat SetCon because you want to get free trashing out of the deal and not lose your Digimon in trades. So stuff like that does add up. You have Dragon Mode here, when Digievolving, if you have a blue card in its Digievolution cards, unsuspend the Digimon. If you have a green in its Digievolution cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. An attack, you may Digivolve this Digimon into a card with Imperial Dramon in its name in your hand for its Digievolution cost, and when you would Digivolve by this effect, reduce the Digievolution cost by 2. You can go into Paladin mode with this effect, or you can go into Fighter mode. So suspend all your opponent's Digimon with no Digievolution cards, then return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to its owner's hand. By returning one Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode from your Digievolution to its owner's hand, return all your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck instead. Basically, another Nidhogg effect. But all turns when this Digimon gets plus 1,000 DP for each of its Digievolution, while this Digimon has 2 or more colors in its Digievolution, gain security plus 1 and blocker. So, all turns being able to be a blocker is really nasty, and plus that security plus 1, really good. I mean, there's so much potential with the list. New Davis is decent enough. It's not crazy good, but hey, it's going to do what it needs to do. When one of your 2-color Digimon, blue and green Digimon attacks, by suspending this tamer, you may Digivolve it into a card with Imperial Dramon in its name from your hand. Where's Digievolution cost? So it can just chain reaction. You can do like Stingmon because this can jog DNA as well. If you have one in the stack here, then you can do Stingmon. It's basically this one with extra steps. I mean, and for a 3 cost to a 2 cost difference, as you do XVmon plus XVmon, it can do some things. Is it always going to be what you want to do? Maybe not, but that's just how this deck is going to play out. It's just a Jogras deck. The deck definitely probably got some decent wave of support here. It just needs more testing. Then All Force definitely got a few new cards in the set. Great Maelstrom, I think returning one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck, really nice. And being able to, play your rookie again. This Vmon being able to search again can really lead up to being something decent here. Renamon, especially being able to place one level 3 from your hand at the bottom of one of your blue Digimon's Digievolution card. This Digimon gains jamming. So, Digivolving onto your Tamers is not bad, and then you could just easily get another Vmon underneath. Or you needed something a little bit better when you start swinging. All Force Beelzemon X Antibody, being able to basically be the extra top end this deck actually quite needed is ridiculous in itself. Being able to unsuspend this Digimon or one of your Tamers, which triggers this Rena's effect because you get to do one of its when Digivolving effects. This kind of just adds up being a really great value. All turns when this Digimon unsuspends, if you have a blue Tamer in play, or this Digimon has All Force in its Evolution, return one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. So now you can bounce twice in a turn, which is really nasty for this deck. So there's plenty of potential, and you can close out games and do what you need to with just this deck alone now. The top end is finally now complete where it needed to be. A great removal card, and then Renamon is just really powerful in herself. So stuff like that does add up. Then we have Shine Greymon itself, Marcus Punch deck. Yellow finally has something diverting from the red a little bit, but let's be honest, it's mostly red. But I want to make sure yellow got something because technically this is in the yellow slot, but then switches over to red and just be straight up red. The whole concept is basically you get Marcus out. Marcus gets you, if you have a Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name, by paying 1, this tamer is treated as a Digimon with 3000 DP and can't Digivolve for the turn. So it's far crying from what it becomes a menace in BT-13, but being able to punch in with your Marcus, especially with, cards like this RideMyAvatar, being able to put Marcus at the top. But what's really nasty is when this tamer becomes suspended, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a yellow card with Greymon in its name from your hand without paying its Digivolution cost. Now, being able to climb up into Shine Greymon, which makes all your Marcuses get plus 3000 DP and security plus 1, means that as long as Marcus keeps punching, you're going to create some nasty spots in here. And then because when Digivolving one of your opponent's Digimon and all your opponent's security Digimon get minus 3000 DP for the turn for each red or yellow tamer you have in play, the wider your board goes, crazier the DP reduction, and more likely Marcus is just going to punch through. This Marcus is only played for now until you get to BT-13. You do not need it afterwards. This goes into the binder or trash bin, whatever you want to do with it. Then you have Shining Blast, is another card. You may play 1 Marcus Daemons from your hand without paying its memory cost. Then 3 of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for each red or yellow tamer you have in play. So the free Marcus is not bad for the 5 cost. It's just what it's going to want to do. All in all, you have like Geo Greymon as similar to any red Digimon in the set. Champion level 4 plays his counterpart tamer. So, not terrible. Then we have Bloom Hydra Quartz. Oh man, it only got 1 card? What can this thing really do? Well, Bloom Hydra Quartz definitely gets really nasty. Even Quartzmon in general, for any green, black, or white deck, is going to be nasty. So, suspending all your opponent's Digimon, suspend all Digimon except this one, and suspend all Tamers, then gain 1 memory for every 2 suspended and or Tamers in play. All turns, all Digimon except this one, and all Tamers cannot unsuspend. Suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers, then for every 5 suspended Digimon and or Tamers in play, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So, the fear of SetCon really finally got away from green because Quartzmon is just that good to answer it. And especially with Bloom, wants to go wide. If your opponent's playing a tamer-based any strategy, Quartzmon is just going to go like, GG's, good game, because I win here by trashing everything. So, especially with Hidden Potential Discover being able to reduce its 6 cost down to a 1 cost, and then it gains memory off of that, on top of that, or even just comboing with Bloom Lord himself, just a lot of things can happen. And it's just a very wide-centric deck. The only fear is like Death Xmon. That's about it. But you should be able to kill them before Death X is actually even just threatening you. Then you have Machine Dramon. Machine Dramon got a few new cards. First off, Super Eradication Attack. Being able to choose one of your Digimon with Cyborg or Machine traits, delete that Digimon, and one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to that chosen DP. So you get to use your protection effect and then basically remove one of their opponent's Digimon, which is really nasty because if you get high enough, you can just really mess with your opponent. Chaos Dramon X Antibody really solved a little bit of the deck's issue. And what do I mean by that? Double D Digievolution sucks sometimes. So you get to use Machine Dramon and get into Chaos Dramon. Now you can get to Chaos Dramon X, hopefully staying in your... Even if you pass turn with this. Now you can do is start a main phase, place 1 Digimon card with Cyborg or Machinist traits from your trash at the bottom of the Digievolution cards. So any Cyborg is a great option. Mega Dramon, just for, going into those wide boards, can just really do some damage here. But also all turns when this Digimon would be deleted, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. And then all turns this Digimon gains effects of all of Machine Dramon and or Chaos Dramon and Digievolution cards. Be careful, you do not want to give it to this thing too many times when you Digivolve on top of this. I mean, twice to get milled is decent, but just remember the when Digivolving effect would activate if it's underneath it already. So keep that in mind. Like Chaos Dramon, being able to double D-Digivolve really is a punishing move. But what is interesting about the new list is that you play Ludamon. Because by placing the Digimon under one of your other Digimon that is red or legendary arms and traits, red is key, Chaos or Chaos Dramon X Antibody, You may play one Digimon with Legendary Arms or trait, and a play cost 7 or less without paying its memory cost. Add the rest to your hand. So revealing the top card makes you draw. So this is a draw, plus the Doru, plus the Dori, now gets you more double value. That was the major issue, was sometimes you just didn't get enough value out of the deal, and it just now adds in that sweet value now. Now you have ways of acting that making Ludamon a 2 cost goes in. Not a terrible trade-off. Plus a double draw for just putting a Digimon into your sources. Not terrible at all. But, you know, there is, if this Digimon has red or has Legendary Arms in its traits in play, this Digimon gains blocker. So now you don't have to rely on, like, blocker effects anymore, because now you use Ludamon to put it underneath. Now you're pretty decently set up. Now you can focus a little bit more on rebooting skills and stuff like that if you want to go that route. But that's just me. Then we do have Beelzemon. Beelzemon, basically, if you're at 3 or less security, expect death. So, you know, Beelzemon X antibody and the whole new X antibody line for this deck really definitely added some spice to the deck that it definitely needed. Now, Beelzemon X antibody can close out games very easily against your opponent. Being able to, if this Digimon has Beelzemon or X antibodies, Digivolution comes for every 10 cards in trash, shot the top card of your opponent's security stack. On deletion, you may play one Digimon with Impmon in its name from trash without paying its memory cost. What's really nice is you have like Beelzemon here. That's, you know, be able to remove threats off the board the longer the game goes on. 7 full cluster. You may, when one of your Digimon digivolves into Beelzemon X antibody by returning this card from your trash to the bottom of your deck, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Not bad, because all you need to do is once, and that could remove a threat off the board, maybe a blocker. And then main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. So the deck's going to do what the deck wants to do. You know, it's got, if it goes off and mills correctly, you're really in a bad spot. But at the end of the day, you have like Impmon X antibody. By trashing one option from your hand, you may return one evil wizard or demon lord in its traits from your trash to your hand. So it's not bad for a non-player when digivolving effect. And then when attacking, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. You know, Wizardmon X antibody has a conditional effect. So if you digivolve on top of Wizardmon or X antibody, it just becomes a blocker until the end of opponent's turn instead. But then you trash the top 2 cards if you did not do it on an X antibody option or Wizardmon himself. So you have 2 ways of using the effect. Just keep that in mind. But all in all, the deck really got some decent power-ups with these cards. Then we're going to get into Bagra. Bagra Army. You know what? It's not that bad. You know, they have a bunch of save effects, so Taiki here from BT-12 can take advantage of it, giving you, by placing one card with save in his text in your hand under this tamer, draw a card. This now gives you to keep you in the momentum in the game. So that was the problem with a little bit of Bagra, was it just couldn't keep up. But with the new Darkness Bagra himself, on play, when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. Then you may place up to 5 Digimon cards with Bagra Armor's trace from your trash at the bottom of the Digivolution cards. So it's really nasty pretty quickly. Opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks or digivolves by trashing 5 cards from this Digivolution card, return all Tamers to its owner's hand. Being able to bounce all Tamers is really nasty. And, you know, that's just not bad. And then, you know, Digi-crossing for the Bagra Dark Nightmon, which you can do with Musudo Nightmon and Bagramon, being able to reduce it by 6, bringing it down to a 10 cost. And then you use U effect to bring it down even more. Not a bad trade-off. Being able to bounce all the Tamers off the board is not a bad deal. You know, especially with Hunter decks and stuff like that want to just build up that. But it also punishes you a little bit. So keep that in mind when you're building the deck. Is it going to win you any major events? Probably not. Then we have Hunters. Hunters, the good Hunters. Man, oh man, Arrestudron Superior Mode is one of the strongest cards out of the set. So, being able to, when digivolving, place one of your opponent's level 3 or under one of your opponent's other Digimon as a bottom Digivolution card, or under one of their Tamers. So, if your opponent's playing Tamers, that big boss Digimon that they spent pretty much majority of the duel to get it going, now you can just send it to the bottom. This deck really did well in the Black WarGreymon format, just because, well, WarGreymon Tribal, Greymon Tribal format, because the ability of basically punishing them for playing the Tamers. Basically, Arrestromon brings in a new form of removal that really does help out. For each tamer you have in play with a different color, increase the maximum level by 1. So if you have, Taiki, and Old Clock Shop Man, this is just plenty of color variations to be able to even bottom deck a 7. End of turn, if you have a level 4 or lower, if you have 4 or more Digi-Evolution cards, this Digimon can attack without suspending. So it double attacks. Every turn after you swing once, you get an attack. Then basically at the end of turn, attack again. Your opponent's in just a bad spot. You can use Astromon to basically get into your Quartzmon just to punish your opponent, especially if you go wide. You can just go Quartzmon and punish for game and stay fair. I mean, there's just a lot of potentials. The deck has a lot of searchability with, Gumdramon, Psychmon. Just all the great value it has in the deck has potential. So, I mean, with the Taiki, you're going to draw. Yu's going to let you gain memory. This Yum will let you gain memory as well and a draw. So, stuff like this can, and then Tigeru, going to be your memory setter. But all in all, great stuff going forwards. Then Old Clock Man is just going to make it so they're hitting security checks. Then we have the Evil Hunters deck, the villain archetype, using this to focus into going to Quartzmon. So once you get into him, that really does add up quickly. But what you could do is armor texture for your early game to use like Yasamon and Opossumon. They're both armor forms. So they can swap in for the memory cost, and that wouldn't be too terrible. That gets you an extra attack in sometimes. But you could also do Metal Life Kuwagamon here, just to get into your Quartzmon with a blue card. It has potential. Is the deck going to really do anything much? It's like in the same level of Bagra Army. It can do something, but is it going to do it consistently? Probably not. But that's just something to think about. And then finally, the deck we're going to talk about is Xros Heart. Xros Heart got some last minute cards. They got 3 new cards. Let's be King's version. So this one will help you search for your Taikis, which you want. Then you have Final Crossblade, which makes it so delete one of your opponent's Digimon, then you may unsuspend one of your Shoutmon times Superior mode and attack your opponent. So if you need to attack for final game, but you only had Superior mode left, you basically get this with the Final Blade attack. But also, this card is really nasty. When this Digimon would be played, by placing one Shoutmon in play in this Digi-Evolution cards, you may reduce the play cost by 1, placing cards from the trash as Digi-Evolution cards. This, as a friendly reminder, is not a double dip kind of effect. You are Digi-Crossing, but you cannot count the card you put in under this effect to be able to use your trash as Digi-Evolution requirements. So, do not do that. Bad, 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 bad. Just a friendly reminder, bad plays. And, on play, return this Digi-Evolution cards of one of your opponent's Digi-Evolution to the bottom of their deck in any order. Return, all of them, and return that Digimon to the bottom of the owner's deck. So this gets around any self-protections because you're going to just bottom deck everything. And then you put the boss Digimon at the bottom. You get to decide the order, so that's very important. And then all turns, all your opponent's options, security effects do not activate. And then Xros Heart, Digimon card, infinite number of Digimon cards with different card numbers are Xros Heart or Blue Flare in its traits. So outside of that, the deck is kind of just basically the same. And you know what? It's fine. The deck's going to punish your opponent and just push for game. So guys, what did you think of these new decks? What deck are you going to build first? What deck are you the most excited for? Without further ado, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!